Hi everybody, it's 3:23 in the morning, and I never get up in the middle of the night, but around 3 a.m. I had to use the bathroom, which is very unusual for me, very unusual. And when I laid back down to try to go to sleep, my head was buzzing intensely. Right before I got out of bed to use the restroom, I heard a car drive by. Now, I check my video footage every morning of the night before. And there is a lot more activity between 2 and 4 in the morning than there is at any other time. And I have some neighbors that live 2 doors down that are known criminals. And even though my cameras are not on their house and they're not visible from my security cameras, I can see a light, a headlight. So when the car passes my house, you can tell that it's stopping in front of their house because you can see the headlights. I suspect that that's where all this radiation is coming from. So this is a sadist's wet dream with all this abuse that has been nonstop with the radiation. Apparently this is something that these folks live for, which is quite sad. That this is their only form of entertainment. But I also discovered something. Because, these folks want to enslave me. Yet they're the slaves. They're the slaves. Because they are a slave to me. To my every move. Without my security cameras, they've got nothing to hack into. They've got nothing to do. Their lives began in 2019 when I got security cameras, and they all learned how to hack into them. And like I said, it's not just my neighbors. This is a community-based hacking. And yes, it's something that I have a lot of evidence of. But, and excuse me, because it's 3:20 in the morning and I'm not really fully awake. But I did decide to make some coffee and really just not fight it for right now. I'm just trying to make the best of a really bad situation. But this is fun for them, and they're the ones who are enslaved because without me, they've got no entertainment, nothing to do. I think I've mentioned before, most if not all of my neighbors are either retired or working from home, so they're always home. Even the renters. Some just moved in this past December. But they both rentals properties next to my house are new residents. They're new. And they have gotten fully into the swing of things immediately. Don't know who they work for. But they are deeply involved. But without me, they've got nothing. I see the way the streets are just silent. And people are waiting and they're watching. And I put my cameras on and boom, cars start driving by. They can hit my cameras from down the street. There's a cross street named Saturn. All the streets in my neighborhood are named after satellites or some sort of space theme. And the cars will come from the cross street because they can hit it from the corner. And then, of course, I get in my car and the world wakes up even a little bit more because they're all waiting. And then I start driving, and then all the cars come from the side streets, and then everybody starts driving by. And it's almost like I turned a light switch on. So without me, they got nothing to do. And I suppose renting a movie is out of the question. Going to a movie, having a social life is out of the question for these people, because they just sit at home every single night and hit me with radio frequencies and wait for their instructions and communicate with each other on their little apps. I don't know about that. That's just my guess. But I'm sure I'm not too off the mark, because you can tell they're being instructed to do certain things. And it's so funny because they all are doing the same thing. For example, the one thing that caught my eye the most was when all of a sudden my immediate neighbors, all of them, moved their trash cans. Now, there is a code in this city that your trash cans cannot be visible from the street. Every single one of my immediate neighbors moved their trash cans to the front of their homes. And I noticed that. And you know why they did that? Because they bring their phones with them when they go and take the trash out. And that's going to be how they hack into my cameras. But everybody's doing the same thing. It's so obvious they're communicating with each other. And these are people that don't know each other. And I know they don't know each other. I've lived here for 20 years. You know, it's not like I've seen them visiting with each other before or communicating. And these are people that don't know each other. So I want to talk about something that I noticed when I was online yesterday. And the question has been posed in the past: how can you tell if somebody is a fake TI or a real TI? I've answered that question. Other people have answered that question. It's really an easy question. Or I should say it's an easy answer. When I first was targeted and I was doing research, you know, I fell for the normal groups that profess to help targeted individuals because I didn't know the game yet, right? So I was vulnerable and I was a new piece of meat, and I started to notice some things that kind of turned me around, educated me. I learned the hard way, you could say. And I noticed that there was one organization that posted this picture of this woman with these really, really severe burns. It was always the same woman that I saw pictures of. And I learned what her name was, and I read her story, and I thought, wow, gosh, that poor woman. Well, then I was listening to a podcast where she was being interviewed. Same woman. And she was talking about how her targeting ended and how you can end your targeting and how all these people, all these friends showed up and stepped up and put her up and gave her money and supported her. And I fell for it because that's the way it should be, right? I didn't realize then, I didn't know then what I know now. That if you're a real TI, you don't have friends. That there's a punishment if somebody tries to help you. That the goal of this program is to isolate you. I didn't know that then. I know it now. So I fell for it. So she was talking about if you have microchips in your head, you can use your hair dryer, and that will get rid of the microchips. That'll melt it. And she was just happy as a lark, right? Well, not long after listening to that podcast, I was on X. And just between you and me, I don't spend a lot of time on social media because I don't trust it. It's not... I know I'm being monitored very closely. I know I'm being set up and baited. So I don't spend a lot of time on social media. But I did go on X for a short period of time. And I saw her make a post. And she made a post about this horrible torture that she was being subjected to. And it was a recent post, and it was after the podcast that I had heard, where she was no longer being targeted, and here's how you get out of the targeting program. So she discredited herself. Then I read about how this organization is bogus. And I'm like, yep, they sure are. Well, I experienced that yesterday when I was listening to someone's video. I was watching someone's video, and they contradicted themselves. And I had been wondering if they were a real targeted individual or they were another control group. And I think I got my answer. Plus, I've left this person. I've made comments before, and I've never heard back from this person. So I'm not going to mention any names, but to say the least, it's educational, but it's disappointing because a lot of these people offer, I call them fake TIs. They offer a lot of what I think is good information. Don't know if it's valid, but like this person yesterday, when the light bulb went off, I realized that he has discredited himself and contradicted himself a few times. And then I realized that this guy's probably not real either. So who's real and who's fake? I'm quickly learning how to distinguish between the two. It's not really that hard. It's not really that hard. But what it is sad that people have paying jobs and make career choices to victimize other people. And I think there's a degree of laziness involved, especially people that, sit in cars and stalk people and get paid for it. That's just a lazy way to earn a living. I'm sorry, but it really doesn't say much about you, but it also shows just how very lazy you are and how afraid of hard work you must be. Because I say to myself at home all the time, I hope you all die of boredom watching me because I don't have a very exciting life. And I know they're looking for blood and they're looking for guts and they're looking for body parts and they're waiting for all this radiation to just kill me and they can't wait to watch. Because that's the society we live in. People like to watch suffering. It's the same premise behind a car accident where everybody's got to slow down and watch. Because they want to see decapitation, and the grosser it is, the more they get off. This program is a sadist's wet dream. And it seems to me our world is filled with just sadists. People that like to watch suffering. So this is yet another phase we've entered with the sleep deprivation and the constant radiation, day, night, no break. And I suppose I'm just not breaking and snapping as quickly as they would like. And I hate to inform them of this, but I'm not going to break or snap. See, what they don't understand is I'm not them. We're separate human beings. And that's a characteristic. It's a very strong narcissistic characteristic where narcissists don't see other people as separate human beings, separate from them, separate feeling, thinking human beings. They just assume that they feel a certain way about something. Everybody must feel that way. Right? And they would break because they're cowards. They wouldn't be able to handle watching their home being destroyed and their trees and their car and every piece of their property that they've worked hard for. They wouldn't be able to handle it. They'd lose their frickin' minds. But I haven't. So, I'm going to try to go back to sleep because my sleep is very important to me. I know that keeping the immune system as strong as possible is a priority because they're trying to break that down. And I'm going to rest. And I hope that you all stay well, are doing well. And before I go, please feel free to subscribe to my channel. Hit that like button. Feel free to leave a comment. Again, my channel's being shadow banned. And comments are being deleted. They're messing with me on every level. Apparently, I'm just not as obedient as they would like. Y'all take care, stay safe and sane. Till next time.